WCB Podcast, your source for all things Chicago Blackhawks and everything hockey. With your host, Jarom and Tanner. Let's do it. Jarom and Tanner.
All right, it's another edition of the WCB Podcast. It's Jarom, it's Tanner. What's up, bud?
Nothing much, man. You know, just having a pretty decent week of hockey.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Let's get right into it. Hawks finished 1-2-1 this week, and the theme of the first three games of the week was be competitive, but don't win.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did. They started hot, and then we're like, "Oh, we feel comfortable with what we've done here. Now you may take it away."
And they kicked things off in Detroit like that when came out fucking firing with Taylor Radish picking up 2 goals, his 15th and 16th of the year. Yeah, he is had a great fucking week. Spoiler alert, he'll probably come up in 3 stars of the week. But yeah, Reichel picks up another point, his 4th assist of the year, and Anthony Ciu picked up his 12th assist on the power play goal for the first goal of the game. And then Gutman, his first career assist, and Connor Murphy with his 5th assist of the year. And then after that, it was all Detroit in the second period with Wallman and Dylan Larkin picking up goals. Larkin coming off that fresh contract signing.
Oh, yeah.
And then Joey Anderson, I think that was his first goal as a Hawk, wasn't it?
Yep, it was.
So he picks up, gets the Hawks back on top. And then Lucas Raymond says, nope, taking this back, ties it up, 3-3. And then, wouldn't you know, a Blackhawk from last season, revenge tour, Dominic Kubalik, game-winning goal with about 4 minutes left in the game, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, Detroit won that one 4-3.
Yeah, you know, that's fine. It's all good, you know. It's one of the things I was going to say about Taylor Radish is I think is kind of funny. I don't really ever realize he's on the ice until he's about to shoot, because I feel like everyone else will have the puck and then they get it to him and he's ripping.
The rest of the team is doing the 99%. And then Taylor Radish has got that 1% to just go. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take it. Thanks for doing all the work, boys. I will finish this up. Thanks for moving, and nice little goal.
Hey, he sets himself like right in the slot and just ready to power it home. I fucking love it. It's great.
And we've said this before. We loved Hagel, but you know what? I love that we got Radish out of that.
Yeah,
it's so worth it. Yeah, I think this was another Mrazek game, right? No, this is
Stalock.
You didn't do too bad. 37 for 41, 902 save percentage.
Yeah, I mean they keep them in the games like we've always been saying. That's what they do.
Fast forward to Friday, Blackhawks against the Panthers. Panthers forget that they were the President's Trophy winning team last season.
I mean, they're kind of a different team this year.
They are such a different team this year. Like, holy crap, how bad they've fallen off. But yet they're still somehow in the playoff hunt, and I figured this was a game that they needed a win. They got their win, but it was a little too close to call for them. Caleb Jones gets the Hawks on the board first, and then Boris gets his 3rd of the season to make it 2-0.
Just crashing the net, man. Crashing the net.
The garbage goal. I was golfing, so I didn't see. I just happened to look up at the screen and see that the Hawks were up with like almost halfway through the 3rd period. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, I think Mrazek was in there for this one. Yeah, he played great. And like another one of those games where the stats don't reflect how well he played, because I mean, he had a shutout going all the way through halfway in the 3rd period. And then that's when Florida was really clamping down, and Matthew Tkachuk he didn't score, but he had 3 primary assists. Like, he got it to the guy that ended up like having all day, or it was just Yeah, they clamped it down. But I was like, all right, cool. It's another one just like Detroit. I was like, all right, hey, we played great. Let them take it away. That's fine with me.
And
Um,
then Gutman had to fuck it up.
yeah, Gutman forced OT. It was great. I love seeing that though, still because of the fight that they throw out there, and um,
There's what,
just
45 seconds left too.
yeah, him just setting up on the side of the net. There's just a mad scramble, and he just swats it in. Um, God, yeah, he's so good. I'm gonna be real excited for next season when he's fully healthy.
Yeah, we'll get to that one a little bit here. But
But
yeah,
Brandon Montour scored probably one of the cooler goals of the year in overtime to win it. When it was just like, I don't think it was a pass. I think it might have been deflected, but the puck was coming down out of the air, and he before the puck like even touches the ice, he's just swatting it backhand, and it goes right between Mrazek's legs, and he's just like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" It was it was pretty neat.
yeah, I was texting with Rossi, who friend of the show covers the Panthers for Hockey Buzz, and I was like, "What the hell, man? You can't just hold on to the lead for 45 more seconds." And he goes,
Yeah,
"Dude, it's
right.
the story of the season." He's like, "They do just enough to let the team come back into it." And then it's like
Well,
the amount of games that they've lost because of that, like last minute goals and stuff like that.
it's probably karma for last year because they towards the end of the year they were literally like the comeback kids.
It's
They
true.
were always doing comeback wins. Like they were down and come back and win, but that they're just not pulling that same magic this year. But it's kind of a different structured team. Like when the game was going on, I forgot it was like I think Mark Stahl got a penalty, and I was just like, I completely forgot Mark Stahl was in the fucking league.
Eric Stahl's on this team too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He played 15 minutes, which is crazy because I don't even remember seeing him once. Yeah, Mark Stahl played 20 minutes. I don't even remember. I don't even remember seeing him out there. It's crazy.
Is is this season that Kachuk's having for Florida kind of establishing him as like a superstar? Like
Oh yeah,
he
I think he's been kind of established
have
as a superstar,
established.
but because he was in Calgary and those games are super late for everybody that's not West Coast, they didn't really see it besides when he would be like shooting shit at like Drew Doughty. But yeah, dude, he's so nasty.
Yeah.
He's so good.
I still
He's
think Florida's gonna win that trade long term.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because in 8 years from now, that Matthew Kachuk's only 32, and you have Huberto and Uyghur at like 37 and 38. Like it's a long term like huge dub.
Yeah.
But I mean, both teams are sitting outside the playoffs right now. So like, did anybody actually? Is it actually a lose lose?
Yeah. But and then next night, back to back Florida trip, Blackhawks, Tampa Bay. Um Tampa Bay struggling. We talked about it a little bit last episode when
Yeah.
the Wikipedia masters, just
Oh yeah.
giving it to Tampa. So I was a little nervous that the Hawks are going to win this game.
True.
And
I was
I
a little nervous the Hawks are going to win this game. Every game so far, like over the past couple of weeks, like they've just been playing well as a team, man. Like it's like I'm so nervous they're going to win this game. Fuck.
I did not get to watch this game. The only thing I saw was Brandon Hagel's empty net goal.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, fuck, man. I was paying attention to the game, but it all just kind of runs together because Mrazek played great. Vasilevsky was solid. The one thing I remember on Taylor Radish's goal, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like these guys were all technically a part of the Tampa Bay like um organization, like prior to this year because Cole Gutman was a draft pick by them that didn't sign. Tyler Johnson was traded. He was on their team for a super long time, and Taylor Radish was literally just a prospect that ended up getting traded. So we had a full like previous Tampa Bay like kind of line right there that scored or that contributed to my goal. It was
I
pretty
didn't
sick.
realize. Yeah, I didn't realize it was tied going into a minute left in that game.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy shit.
It was a super close one, man. Like Mrazek played fantastically.
Yeah, Mrazek 34 for 36 and 944 save percentage. Like he is like I feel bad for him because he gets this bad rap or this rap of being like a joke goalie, like not good anymore and all that kind of stuff. But look at what he's doing on
Mm-hmm.
essentially a minor league hockey team.
Well, it's
Like,
just like some goalies thrive when they're just being peppered, and some just are solid shutdown guys that are only good with like 20 or so shots, like that you can count on. But then if you give them like 30 to 40, they're gonna fucking be Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
It's so like it's really weird. Like the guys that gain the momentum by getting more shots suffer from facing less shots. So it could be like that situation with Mrazek, because I don't know how defensively Toronto was, or I know Carolina's pretty solid defensively. So like if he wasn't as seen as like that valuable because of that, like that's the way I kind of was a little bit sometimes. I was like, the more shots I face, the better I'll feel.
Yeah.
But it's so weird because it's just such a psyche thing, but also like how quality are the shots, you know? Like Mrazek's facing a lot of really quality shots. He's making a lot of great saves.
Yeah, there's a big difference between getting a bunch of shots thrown right into your chest versus having to go side to side and, you know, make these big ass saves that he's been making all year. And you mentioned it last week too. And it's like, if he can stay healthy next year and
it wasn't Vasilevsky. I forgot it was Elliott that was in that. Sorry.
But if he can stay healthy and keeps putting a performance like this, he might be able to be trade bait to come trade deadline next year. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Especially if like a team gets like any kind of goalie injury, like the Hawks will have no cap retained on any previous trade. Actually, sorry, McCabe. They'll be able to retain cap, and Mrazek's only 3.9 million. So if any team needs like at least a solid backup, like maybe their goaltending's a little shaky, and see if Mrazek can just come in. Getting Mrazek at half of what he makes, so like 1.9.
Oh yeah, do that any day.
Pretty sick.
Yeah,
that's definitely. At least that if he continues what he was doing this year, man, that's at least a second.
Oh yeah, definitely. Brandon Hagel put the empty netter to seal this one 3-1. So
the last goal of the game comes from an ex-Hawk.
Yes,
just like Detroit.
But there you go. Those are the first 3 games we were talking about. All of them were extremely close up until the very end. I mean, it's a competitive team, and we're going to touch on that in a second. But next, we have to talk about last night's game from when we're recording this. The Boston Bruins came to town. And what the actual fuck
I turned to my wife, and I was like, oh, man, the Hawks are playing the number 1 team in the league right now. They're setting records. I was like, they are going to get smoked so fucking hard because last time they did. But this time, 6-1. Completely different story.
Yeah. Boston, if you don't know, is just on a mission from God to be the greatest team in NHL history. They are already, 50 wins. They're the fastest team in NHL history to 50 wins.
Okay, so before we even go any further, I had saw somebody write, I was reading comments on all sorts of shit because, like, why not suffer from people's stupid comments? But somebody did bring up a good point that, like, sure, Boston is like the quickest team to 50 wins in this kind of format, because prior to this, teams could end in ties. And so there was like some team that the person was bringing up that was like the 1977 like Montreal Canadiens, who games just that like Boston would be technically, if they had the same rules, I guess. I didn't really look into it. I kind of just like went off of what they said, because like this kind of makes sense though. Like if they went off the same rules that ended in ties, they would have 43 wins.
So what you're saying is,
because they have 43 regulation wins right now.
No, I know. But what you're saying is Boston, no matter what they do, deserve an asterisk next to their name, and I'm all for putting an asterisk next to the Boston team's accomplishment.
In the current format, sure, they are the quickest team to 50 wins in NHL history. I don't know, anything could have happened. But teams used to end in ties. They no longer do that. Those count as W's now. So
yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what, like, even the 95-96 Detroit team that holds the record for best record in NHL history.
Yeah, they had ties.
They could have done if they could have had a shootout or something like at the end of the game instead of just ending in a tie. That's very good point. I never even thought about it that way. Holy
God. Same. Like,
yes. Looking for a way to like discredit Boston and make your accomplishment look less, and we figured it out. Let's go.
It feels good.
Fuck you, Edwards. Fuck you, Marchand. Fuck you.
Let's see. Yeah, they had 7 ties. They could have had even more points. I mean, that
Yes,
team was tearing it
Detroit
up.
was what, 62-13?
13-7.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had just like 4 more wins there, that's even harder to reach,
So
like fuck.
essentially, yeah, coming into this game, the Boston Bruins needed to go 13-5 to surpass Detroit.
Okay.
So now
But they ran into the super hot Blackhawks.
the best team in the NHL, Chicago Blackhawks, because they beat Boston. So by law, the Blackhawks are now the best team in the NHL.
By law, yeah. They are now since Boston was the first team to clinch a playoff spot, by law, the Blackhawks are now in the playoffs.
And Boston is now in the draft lottery. No, I don't like that.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? I just want to talk to you real quick about a cool event that's happening soon on April 8th at 2:30 p.m. at the Allstate Arena. The Chicago Wolves and the Veterans Hockey League present the Wolves Warrior Classic, featuring the Carolina Warriors facing off against Chicago's very own Level Zero Heroes. We've talked about the Veterans Hockey League before. We've played in it. They do awesome work keeping veterans on the ice, and try to just get them the help they need once they come back from overseas. This is a big event for the Same U Foundation. The Same U Foundation is for brain injury recovery, and also other cool stuff. I'm going to throw a link in the description below for you to do more research on the event if you want to hear more about it. It is definitely a must check out event. And if you can't make it out there, there's definitely ways that you can donate to Same U and to Level Zero Heroes to help them achieve their goals of helping out veterans. Again, that's the Wolves Warrior Classic, April 8th at the Allstate Arena at 2:30 p.m. This one, yeah, I couldn't watch this one. But just getting the notifications and then the group chat, just like
Just
what is
what the fuck is
going
happening?
on? Entwistle gets his third of the season, makes it 1-0. Then
So
Lindholm.
his goal is super weird. I don't know if you saw the highlights of it, but
Oh, not yet.
it's just a play that he breaks up in the defensive zone and just speeds down the boards. The defenseman just takes a look back to see if anybody's coming that he needs to like cover as well, like cover the passing lane. He hits the Jets a little bit harder, curls right around him. I don't know if he intentionally did this. He does not even shoot the puck. He just like one hands it like he's gonna carry it across the front, and then Allmark just misses the poke check and it goes fucking 5-hole as he's cutting across the crease. And I'm just like, what? Did he intentionally like poke it in, or did he just like lose it? Like what the fuck just happened?
Knowing Entwistle, he just lost it. I feel
Yeah, man, because if he tried to shoot it, he'd miss the net.
I'm so done with Entwistle, man. I really am.
He scored finally. It's like he does really well in the preseason, and so the coach is like, yeah, he's gonna definitely make the roster, and then he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, so then Boston ties it up in the second period. A lot of goals in the last like 5 minutes of the second period. Lindholm ties it up. Then Joey Anderson gets a second as a Hawk to make it 2-1. Then Frederick scores to make it 2-2 with like 12 seconds left in the third period. Then the
Second,
third period kicks off with Pavel Zacha scoring to make it 3-2, and then it's like, okay, all is right in the world. The best team in hockey right now has got his lead. The Hawks are screwed. Let's just you made it close. Let's
the
just
Hawks have
go.
played well. Now let's let it go.
No, no,
Eh,
no.
no.
The Hawks go on to score 4 unanswered goals.
One wasn't the last one an empty netter or no?
I don't probably. Yeah, it
I
was.
think it
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
Taylor Radish puts his 18th
Oh
up,
yeah, it was.
his 18th of the season. Then Boris scores an absolute filthy goal.
Oh, Boris hit this. I didn't know Boris could do that. What did he do? He just toe dragged around the defenseman and then just rips it far side high.
Fucking
And
past him too.
oh my god, man! Like, I just have to watch the highlight one more time because yeah, toe dragging the defenseman at like the blue line, speeding in and ripping it high far side, and like when I first saw the highlight, I was like, who the hell was that? Come to find out, Boris Kachuk It's just, I don't know, man. We might have won that Tampa trade.
Boris goes from being a guy that I didn't even think existed, was a made-up player, to scoring one of the filthiest goals of the season. Like, well done, kid. Well done. Then Taylor Radish on the power play, get the insurance goal, make it 5-3, his 19th of the season. And then with 45 seconds left, empty net goal, Taylor Radish puts it away. First career hat trick, 20th goal of the season. And the Blackhawks, just as everybody expected, beat the Boston Bruins 6-3.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What the actual fuck?
Yeah, I mean, they even out-hit them. They scored on the power play. They kept them off the board on the power play. Jesus. They just, the Hawks came and outplayed the Bruins, but I don't know how much, like, the Bruins clinching a playoff spot factors into it at all. But if you're gonna lighten up this point of the season, what all your starters are playing, like, that's not looking good.
Oh.
And like I said weeks ago, water always finds its levels. This is Boston going downhill.
Well, they've lost. That's like their third loss in 4 games or something like that. They've lost to Edmonton, they've lost to Detroit, and now the Blackhawks. The game they won in the last 4 was against Detroit to clinch it.
Yeah.
And all I have to say is thank God we don't play them again this year, because that next game after that embarrassment would be fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a good one.
So naturally, Blackhawks win a game against the best team in the league. Hawks Twitter and social media fucking freaks out all those fans and all that because they won a game. Ooh, for God forbid they won a game. So we'll take a look at the bottom of the standings right now really quick. Columbus beat San Jose last night in overtime. So Columbus got 2 more points. They're at 49. San Jose got 1 point, so they're at 51. Hawks are at 52. Disadvantage for the Hawks is they have a game in hand on San Jose. And I don't know if it's an advantage or disadvantage yet, but Columbus has a game in hand on the Hawks. So, I don't know. I'm still not worried. I still don't think. The only thing that's worrying me now is San Jose, because San Jose is now 1-7-2 in their last 10.
Ooh.
And they are looking very bad.
What's crazy to me is the fact that San Jose is like bottom of the league with the Norris Trophy candidate.
that was an interesting thing that kind of bugged me. I think Jackie Redmond posted about it, was saying something about it, like, oh, Erik Karlsson's the Norris Trophy winner, but it's for more reasons, like, but just because he's playing bad defensively doesn't mean he shouldn't win it. And I'm like, the Norris Trophy is for the best defenseman. Like, that's where it's like they need to come up with another award for the best offensive defenseman and the best defensive defenseman. Yeah. And we've been saying this for years. And it's like Karlsson's going to be the best example of why that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason why Karlsson should be winning it.
The thing that's crazy is that everybody thinks that Karlsson is a very not good like defenseman as a defenseman, but he is.
No, he's right. But the thing is, it's like there's defensemen on winning teams that are doing their defensive job. They don't have the offensive stats, but they're doing their job defensively. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand how it's like, yeah, his team's bad around him too, but it's like at the same time, what is he? What's his minus?
His advanced stats are like really good offensively. I'm sure like it's tough to
only minus 12, not as bad as
it's tough to pin like all of the defensive flaws on one person,
right?
Where everybody needs to contribute. But when you're performing as well offensively, it's easier because like you're the one in control of the puck, right? So like if you're performing well offensively, that's all on you. But if you're out there for a minus, like, dude, you could have just stepped on the fucking ice, like, and get scored on. Like, it's hard to measure the defensive side more than like the offensive side. So that's why I'm just like, I've watched him play like plenty of times. He's not bad defensively. Like, the team's just not good.
And I say this, I love EK65. I'm so glad he's back and all that kind of stuff. I just think though, it's like when your argument about why he should win the Norris is because he leads all defensemen in points. To me, that's not a
Oh
good
yeah.
argument for it.
Yeah, it should really be best offensive defenseman.
Exactly.
And
Like
then the Nicholas Hjalmarsson trophy.
exactly. Like that's why like there needs to be like players like John Emerson are get no recognition in this league because they're not
Oh yeah.
point guys.
It's
And
also hard to just, I mean, other than just registering blocks and like hits, possibly as like the main factors. I don't know, even if you maybe adding plus minus, but like that's like I said, it's a tough stat to kind of put in there. But those more defensive aspects like blocks, right? That's something you would want to look at as a guy that's going to probably be winning more of a defensive trophy.
right. It's crazy to me that you have like essentially best offensive player, which ends up being the heart essentially. You
Yeah.
have best defense or two-way forward. So the best offensive defenseman or offensive player,
Yes.
offensive
The
forward.
Selkie.
Yeah, the
Yes. The
Selkie.
most defensive forward.
You have the best goalie, and then it's like you just have one trophy for defensemen all in one. Just make
Yeah.
another trophy and just call it like that.
Yeah. Like I don't understand if you felt like you needed to have best defensive forward as a trophy. I don't understand why not having the best offensive defenseman as a
Exactly.
trophy.
That's yeah. Like I don't understand that. That to me blows my mind. But I don't know. Way off topic. Deep in the preview for NHL talk, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. So state of the Tankathon. How are you feeling?
Fine. Actually a little worried because the Hawks are playing so well. Like it's I'm fine because we haven't been winning tons of games, but I'm worried because we've been in every single game.
Doing
It's like it's always coming down to like the third period, and then it's like I are they gonna hold on to this lead? Like what's gonna happen?
they're doing just enough to keep us out of that bottom two that
Yeah.
guarantees a top three pick. That's the problem. Like that's where I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because we don't get a top three pick, all of this was for nothing.
No,
Let's
I
be
mean
honest. I mean, let's be
it's
honest.
really like top four is probably pretty good, but I don't know. San Jose, I just want to know what their like. What do the strength of schedules look like for the bottom teams for the
Let's see.
next? Like, I know the Hawks have like a really tough schedule. That's what I remember, but I don't remember what. I didn't look at the other teams.
All right, let's see. Remaining schedule, strength of schedule. I'm assuming so the Vancouver's got the easiest schedule.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks, according to this, have the 19th hardest schedule left.
Oh no.
The
Oh, Tankathon.
let's see,
So,
Columbus has the fifth easiest schedule or fifth hardest schedule,
uh,
and San Jose. Why can I never find? Oh, San
San
Jose
Jose is
the
9.
nine. San
The
Jose's got
Hawks
San
have a
Jose
pretty easy
has,
schedule in comparison to the bottom teams.
but also look at who. See, and this is the one thing. Tankathon has Washington as an easy opponent.
Yeah, which
St.
I
Louis,
mean,
St.
that's
Louis,
that's such an
Calgary,
odd team to put as like an easy opponent when they're still like in the hunt technically, right?
and the way Vancouver's playing right now,
Kind of.
we have two games against Vancouver, and the way they're playing right now, I
Right.
mean, it's like it's so. Philadelphia, I give them that one. Arizona, I give them that one, but Arizona's been always good. Um, St. Louis always plays against the Hawks. No matter what they got
Oh
going on,
yeah.
they always show up against the Hawks. Washington, I feel it always shows up against the Hawks. Calgary, I mean, they're kind of getting their shit in order too.
Yeah, those teams are like needing to make pushes. Calgary's just outside the playoffs right now. So is Nashville. It's so weird.
How does Calgary have the 29th hardest schedule remaining when they have two games against Vegas, two games against LA, Dallas, Winnipeg, and Nashville? That's their hardest opponents. Like, how is that? That seems like a hard fucking schedule.
Oh, the Pacific's not that good. but then they play San Jose, they play us, they play the Ducks, and Vancouver. And like I said, Vancouver's was still, I mean, because of the season so far, Vancouver is not considered that good of a team, even
It's
though they have been on fire.
yeah.
It's not taken into consideration like the last like 10 games.
Oh yeah, I get that. I just it seems like just those are all playoff teams that they're facing under the. So you think that would bump it up a little bit more difficult. All right. So yeah, it's crazy to see under 20 games left in the season.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's go. let's
okay.
let's do okay.
All right. Before we move on to other stuff, 3 stars of the week. I think you have to give Radish the first star.
Yeah. He had 6 goals and 1 assist in the 4 games with his first NHL hat trick, which is pretty sick.
Bam. Second star.
I mean, I would probably say like Mrazek. He had a really good week. It sucks that he got hurt.
Yeah. Mrazek left the game against. I guess we could throw that in there. He left the game against Boston with looks like his 3rd groin injury of the season.
Yeah.
Well, we might get to see. It might be Dobie time.
Yeah. I mean, it
That'll
feel like
help.
every time we hear like some moves being made, I'm like, okay, cool. Like they're really trying their best to like not
Not too
make
good.
sure this team doesn't do well. And then, I mean, Luke Richardson just gets them to play great.
Yeah. Does he? Okay, real quick. So Radish.
No, hold on. 3rd star.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before we move that.
Yeah. 3rd line. It's
Third
the
line.
3rd line, man. Yeah, because like Jujar Kyra, Boris Kachuk, and Joey Anderson had a pretty good week. They all were a point per game over the 4 games, with Kyra having 5 assists in the 4 games, and then Kachuk and Anderson both had 2 goals and 2 assists. They were getting it done. I mean, plus I think Kyra had a fight. like
Got
it was,
engaged.
yeah, man. Oh yeah, he did. He got engaged too, so that's awesome.
So.
Oh yeah.
All right, it's back to Luke Richardson.
Yes.
Does he get enough credit for what he's doing this year?
Dude, also Kyra was a +5. Sorry, he was a plus. What? That's pretty sick. Yeah, I don't think Luke Richardson's getting enough credit this year, but I can definitely see like as this team grows, he'll probably be a Jack Adams Award like nominee at least.
When we win the cup next year, when we have Connor Bedard.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Right, put it on the board.
I remember which button here was the drum. But yeah, no, I think we've talked about this before. We wanted the sexy candidate. We wanted like Trotz or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when we got Luke, we're like, okay. But you know what? He's put an identity back into this team. Like, it's great to see that this team's playing with heart, with passion, given the situation that they're put in with like essentially a no-win situation, and they're getting wins.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And they're staying really close and tight in these games. And like part of it too, I think it's also coming from the goaltending. Like I've said over and over and over and over again, like these guys have been keeping them in games. But I mean, the team is playing well as a whole too.
Yeah. But no, it's nice to see some systematic hockey being played again. I kind of felt like the Colleton era, there just was no systems. This team was just running around playing rad hockey. And for the first time since Q showed up, it feels like this team has got direction and path. And if he's doing this with essentially the land of misfit toys of a lineup, what's going to happen when we start contending again and we start putting guys on this roster to win, you know?
Right. Also with the fact that we're trying to build through the draft and such, so these guys are going to be coming into the team. He's going to be molding them. It's not like we're just like making this team out of spare parts from other players or from other teams. It's like these are guys that we're looking to like fill in and fit into this system that he wants to instill in everybody, I guess. You know what I just noticed that I didn't realize? Connor Murphy was a scratch in Florida in the Florida games. Did you notice that?
Was he?
he was, because I was just checking when I was checking like the stats for the week. It just said he only played 2 games, and I looked back and he was scratched for both Florida and Tampa. I don't remember seeing anything about him not playing. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I guess that's what happens when it's weird. It doesn't even say in the game notes about why he would be.
Right. So that's why I was just like, wait, did he really not play? Like, that's so weird.
Interesting. Yeah, I did not notice that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Jones, Isev, Tenorti, Ruse, Mitchell, and Caleb Jones. Interesting. Oh, all right. Well, there's that. I don't know. Other quick roster notes though. Speaking of that, the Hawks shut down Cole Gutman for the remainder of the season. He has having shoulder surgery, and expected to be ready by training camp this fall. Coach Richardson said that they knew about the injury, that he was essentially playing until he couldn't go no more. It was back in November he suffered this injury. So as you mentioned earlier about can't wait to see him when he's healthy. Like this is what he's doing at like whatever percentage he was at. Holy
Yeah.
shit, let's go.
Yeah. I've been like he's just been really fun to watch because man, just the confidence that he shows with the puck and just being in the right place at the right time. I think I don't again to go with like Luke Richardson, like I think he's putting him in a great situation when he's the way that he's using him too. Like I feel like it's another one of those situations where it could end up being like a Brandon Hagel type thing because he was a 6th-round pick that ended up not signing with his team, and we just got him for nothing. That could, hey, like great. Like I love it when guys are playing hard and getting rewarded.
But yeah, so hopefully he recovers, speedy recovery, no complications, and he comes back and he's
No speedy recovery. Take your time.
in a sense that he's ready for next year.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. No starting like in the middle of the season coming back type of thing. Let's
Oh
go.
yeah.
Day one, let's
Yeah.
go.
He's supposed to get he's supposed to get surgery. I don't.
He said he was like when they announced it, it's like he was traveling to LA to have it, so he probably already
Yeah.
had surgery. So
Yeah.
Hawks made a couple college signings. The first one that was announced was Ryder Rolston.
Yeah.
Right. He is a forward from Notre Dame. He ranked 3rd on the team in scoring with 20 points, 7 goals, and 13 assists through 27 games this year. Yeah, I mean, I think he came over in the trade with was it? Oh shit,
Colorado.
Colorado for
Carl Soderberg.
Soderberg.
It was
I
in
got the
the
Soder part.
remember when we had Soderberg during like the COVID shortened season?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, big guy, 6'2". He was originally a 5th-round draft pick in the 2020 draft by Colorado. Son of Brian Rolston, who is a Stanley Cup champion. Or the Islanders, no, not the Islanders. Or who was it with?
Was it
I don't know.
Jersey?
Jersey, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Probably Jersey.
So
Or Colorado, I think.
Yeah, he is reported to Rockford. He was 3-year with what was it, the 875 cap hit, I believe.
895.
895. Okay. And then the other signing was defenseman Wyatt Kaiser. He spent the last season with the University of Minnesota Duluth in 35 games this year. He had 5 goals, 18 assists for 23 points. He's reportedly joining the team right away.
Yeah, he's right. He's on the big boy roster.
He was drafted by the Hawks in the same draft, 2020, but he was the 3rd round, 81st overall pick, the Marian Hossa of that draft.
Oh.
So yeah, this is another guy that's kind of everybody's kind of been talking about him as a potential like good piece for the defensive core going forward. It's awesome to finally start seeing some of these guys signing and moving up and
Yeah.
being actually with the team.
I'm excited for like we've always had such the solid team for the last like 10 years that it was always the same rotation of like NHLers just coming in, trying to fill in and make the team good. Now we're starting to see that there's openings on this squad for like all of our prospects to just show us what they got. And I think that's more exciting because at some point, like you can get so surprised, like a guy that's drafted third, fifth, like sixth round, whatever, like comes out and then just dominates the NHL ice for some reason. You're like, hey, fuck yeah, man.
So are you more willing to let those third, fourth, fifth, sixth round guys sign and play right away than you are of guys like Korchinski,
Oh
Nazar,
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff? Like it's a
Oh,
little bit
oh yeah.
different process with those two. Like
Yeah, you don't want to rush the guys that are, I mean, Korchinski and Nazar and everybody that was just drafted last year, but like Kaiser, he's 2020, so that's almost 3 years like ago. Like this was probably like his rights were probably gonna end, or his signing rights were probably gonna expire, so they got him on a deal. He's played what the last 3 years in the NCAA, so that's what I think one of the more exciting things now is that like the NCAA has produced a lot of guys now. It used to be like every one or two guys, like you get some standouts, but like now there's a lot of guys making it straight into the NHL, like after staying with their teams for a couple seasons and then making huge impacts. And we'll see what happens, but it could be anything can happen, really, like it's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
fucking
it
cool.
was a career year for him this year, with the 23 points in the previous two seasons with Minnesota Duluth. He had 19 points and 10 points. So, I mean, he's going the right direction. So, it doesn't matter how is it going to transition to the NHL or at least the AHL. That's
Yeah. And like I said, just getting these guys that kind of ice time to show us what they got I think is just awesome.
the last thing I have here for Hawks talk is the news that came out about Patrick Kane. Reported yesterday, a news article came out that 5 months ago, I believe it was, he
Yeah,
bought
it just
a
said
house.
several months ago.
Yeah, bought a house in Lake Forest. So
Hmm.
now, of course, everybody's got the tinfoil hat on. Oh, he's coming back. No, he never wanted to be traded. All this kind of stuff, and it is a weird move, but at the same time, I believe his wife or his girlfriend is from Chicago. I mean, he's
Yeah,
lived here for 16 years.
yeah.
I mean, it's totally
He has a
understandable.
he has a kid now too.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you? I don't know where he was living prior, but like, why not get a massive house? Because you have a great contract. Like, you can afford it. It was only like a $5 million house too. And when I say only like a five
Yeah.
million dollar house, I mean his contract is 10.5 per year.
Oh,
But
look out. Here comes the poor Patrick Kane on with his
yeah,
$5 million
like
house.
right, like you have like a newborn son. No point in being in like a condo or some shit in downtown. Like,
Hey, Patrick Kane's all about that summertime shy. Like off season, he'll come out, live in Chicago, and enjoy the nice time of the year. And then when hockey season comes on, he goes to wherever he signs. I still don't think he's coming back. I really like if the reports are true with what happened between the headbutting after the DeBrincat trade and the Strome release and all that, and then just the wording of his goodbye to Chicago, the Chicago fans. I don't think he's coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. I don't know. I just don't think he's coming back. And I think anybody that is really holding on to that fact of him coming back, like, no, don't worry, he's coming back. He's coming. He's like the little kid, like sitting at the porch after his dad drives away, and he's like, no, he's coming back. He's coming back. Like, come on, he's coming back. Like that's
Patrick Kane just went to get cigarettes,
it's
so just just relax. He'll be back any minute.
Oh shit. Yeah, so that's interesting. I got a transition between NHL and Hawks Talk, but do you have anything else for Hawks Talk?
No, it was just the only thing I had was Mrazek hurt, but we talked about that.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing that I just saw recently was that there's uh I was curious why Bjork wasn't playing, but he's injured too.
Yeah, he left
And
against Florida, I think, in the second period.
oh yeah. And then Andreas Englund got hurt back on the 6th, but he was put on. I don't know if he was put on whatever, but he hamstring on March 8th is what it says.
Gotcha.
So that makes sense. But yeah, that's why I'm confused about the Connor Murphy thing, because he wasn't injured, he's just scratched.
It's not roster management anymore. The trade deadline's passed, unless they're going to trade him and not let it be.
I mean, there's been some post-trade deadline trades.
Yeah, the second those trades go through, you can still make trades, but whatever you trade is not eligible to play in the playoffs.
Yes.
So it's.
I thought I saw somewhere it wasn't for they weren't eligible for the regular season either, but I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
I saw for sure.
I don't remember ever seeing that before this time. I always just thought it was playoffs, but it's a lot of teams. It was like Ottawa getting rid of guys to like Arizona for future considerations, and it was just like, okay, like even if those guys aren't playing anyway, it's not like they're making the playoffs in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually those trades you see are just for like either minor league guys or like signing rights for people that are coming up or something like that. It's never like big.
Or they're probably making some roster space just in order to sign some like college kids or something like that, like stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So switching over to NHL talk, the nice little transition there is we keep talking about how we are feeling about the Bedard sweepstakes and the Tankathon and all that. Well, guess what? All our questions will be answered May 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I believe it was. The draft lottery is scheduled to take place. So May 8th, mark on your calendars. We will finally know if we are the biggest winners of the season or if we are going to be depressed and
or if the rebuild's going to take a bit longer than we want.
Exactly.
May 8th. Motherfucker. It's a Monday.
Yeah.
Just because it's 7 p.m. Eastern is like right when I get off of work.
So they do it on a Monday, so they just ruin the entire week for everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
so it looks like someone's got a case of the Mondays.
So fingers crossed, top 2 Blackhawks, because the more I see about Fantelli, the more I'm like, ooh, I'd be totally okay with that too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Patrick Kane though, too, he recorded his 50th point last night in his game. And why that's so big is that he now passed Mike Modano for most 50-point seasons by an American-born player. So
some would say he's the greatest American-born player of all time.
He's going to be. He's getting there. New York fans really changed their tone about him too. They were very upset about him.
Yo, I saw this one kind of awesome shirt that somebody had. It was like him doing his celly where he's grabbing the ice, and it says "Showtime on Broadway," and I was like, "That's kind of sick." Like, I love it. Oh,
it just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, it looks weird. It looks
so
real weird. Just blue in general on him looks weird.
Yeah. Also going on right now are the GM meetings. Some of the topics that were touched on were the expansion talk that Gary Bettman says that cities have reached out about expansion. Teams like Houston, teams like Atlanta, teams like Quebec. They've listened to them, but they are in no means ready to expand the league. That's not even on the agenda right now, which it shouldn't be. I don't understand why they would go more than 32 teams. Also said that it's only a matter of weeks before the Ottawa Senators are sold. And interesting enough that comes out is Ryan Reynolds just sold his Mint Mobile to T-Mobile for like $1.5 billion. And he is part of a group trying to bid to own the Ottawa Senators. So Deadpool's going to own an NHL team. Let's go.
Yeah. I think it would just be really cool to have like somebody like Ryan Reynolds who's so like popular
need something like that
in the mainstream to be like an owner of an NHL team.
It's like, look at like NBA, like Mark Cuban, like this is the person.
Well, Mark Cuban's known for being a fucking owner.
But I'm just saying though, like the personality, right? The personality part of it, it's like you need that. Like NHL needs personality because they sure as hell aren't getting it from their players. Like
Yeah.
Like somebody was like McDavid. We're going to talk about McDavid has like the most points by an active player,
Yeah, he has the highest point season among active players
and
with
it's like,
129, and he still has 14 fucking games left.
and somebody compared him talking about how his season's going to like Ben Stein and Ferris Bueller, where the boring professor, just totally monotone, no excitement, no like whatever. It's like you need guys like you need Zegras to get up to that level and all that kind of stuff and just have fucking fun with it. Like the
I
NHL.
wonder how much of it goes into the fact that players probably, if they were able to just like talk how they normally would, be like, well, fucking, it's been a fucking great time out on the ice with the boys, just fucking ripping it. Just like, okay, well,
Fucking beauties, let's
can you
go.
not say any of that? Okay, yeah, we had a great time out on the ice. Play hard, get pucks deep, crash the net. Oh,
The last thing from the GM meetings that I saw tweet wise that was kind of stood out to me was that they are pretty much set that the cap is only going to go up by like $1 million next year. So
tight.
So Blackhawks will be able to take advantage of teams who need salary cap space.
Oh yeah, Blackhawks taking advantage of teams. Let's go. Kyle Davidson.
Yeah. The other thing I have too here is ratings increase. There was that report earlier. Yeah. Earlier there's a report that the viewership was actually down for NHL, but now there was a report that came out, I think yesterday or today, that it says that that's not true. There's actually a rate increase. ABC games are up 19%, which has seen an increase of 1.1 million viewers.
What the fuck is on ABC?
They have Sunday game or weekend games.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Now that the NFL is not going on.
Yeah. Same thing like when the NHL went to NBC.
Oh yeah.
For later in the year. And then the Sunday NHL on TNT games, Sunday coverage is actually up 42% from last season. So
cool.
People are starting to watch.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, it's one of those things that's like tough because it is like quite a long season. NFL is pretty huge. Like it's such a short season, so every week really means like a shit ton to every team. And so that's why that gets like so much coverage. But this is the time of year as the Hawks, or not as the Hawks, as the NHL gets into playoff time. That's when it's like, oh shit, NHL playoffs are about to start. And that's when a lot of people that are like casual fans are like, this is when it gets real fucking good. And that's when you'll see like things jump up. I saw something on like Instagram saying that the Stadium Series game between Carolina and Washington was like a huge like success actually, and I was like, I didn't even know that game was fucking happening.
Exactly.
But
That's like the marketing. It's like I don't know how the viewership's going up, but it's like I never know when any of these events are, except for the Winter Classic because it's always New Year's Day. Except this year was
the second.
Yeah.
I never know when the Stadium Series games are. Even when the Hawks were in them, I had no fucking clue when those games would be.
The All-Star game, it was like week of until I figured out what day it was because they did all the promotion for the team, but they never put when the game was. Yeah. They just said all these players are going to watch these guys in the All-Star game. Cool. When is it?
Yeah.
You got to figure it out.
Hasn't happened yet. I'll tell you what.
But yeah, NHL has got to step up their PR and their marketing. Like that's the main thing. It's like that's why the NBA is so good, the NFL is so good. It's like they got great marketing. But yeah. Let's see. You already mentioned Boston Bruins, the first team to clinch the playoff spot. San Jose Sharks.
First team eliminated. And then it's just Andrei Svechnikov's out, man.
That sucks.
Out for the rest of the season, which is so shitty because I feel like for the last like few years, something happens to him like as they get into the playoffs or they're in the playoffs. Because a few years ago when they were playing in Washington, he got completely knocked into the next Tuesday by fucking Alex Ovechkin in a fight, and he was unable to play the rest of the playoffs. Like a few years ago, they were playing Boston, and I think Chara was still on the team, and Chara put his entire body weight on him and fucked his legs up, and he was done for the rest of the playoffs. Yeah. And then this year, now he's got an ACL injury, and he's done for the rest of the season plus the playoffs. Like, Kid can't fucking catch a break towards the
I
end of the
felt
year and in
bad
the
for him
playoffs.
too. He was sitting there. There was like reports that he was sitting there like in tears, apologizing to Brenda Moore and the GM and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm sorry. Like fuck, man.
Dude, he's so good.
Yeah.
And it's like I love watching him play. Like when I can, it's just like whenever the Hawks are playing him, really. And it's so frustrating to see him go down with those kinds of injuries. Like like on the NHL's biggest stage, like he's getting fucking hurt and it sucks. He's so good though. God
I was
damn,
about to
dude.
say Carolina could still catch Boston. They're only 9 points back, but then I looked at they've played the same amount of games. That's fucking insane.
Oh yeah.
Holy
Huh.
shit. But yeah, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully Carolina's got enough depth to where it won't be that big of a deal, because I would love to see Carolina go on a run. Carolina, New Jersey, like those are the two teams. New York, I'm pulling for just because of that first round draft pick implications, but I would love to see Carolina, New Jersey come out of the East.
I just want to check the draft that he was in. So in the 2018 entry draft, I think he might have the most points. Yeah, he does. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's got 3 more. So Svechnikov has 3 more games played than Brady Tkachuk and 5 more points. He's also a plus 35 to Tkachuk's minus 57. And what's funny is like you'd think that like Brady Tkachuk has 465 penalty minutes. You're like, wow, like that's a lot. Like Svechnikov has 310. Like he's not shy to go to the box. It's crazy how close their stats are. Svech actually had oh wow, I didn't even realize this. Svechnikov has 112 goals to Kachuk's 117, and Svechnikov has 152 assists to Kachuk's 142. That's a pretty good. That's a really good like second and fourth overall pick. Oh, and then there's Kotkaniemi, who's also on Carolina now. But yeah, that's 2 really good players. God damn, man.
All right. That's it. That's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I don't
All
think
right.
so.
Episode 215 or 216. What are we calling it?
Cold gutted, man.
Cold gutted, man.
Yeah. You wish we were watching him play more. I'm gutted.
That's a good one. All right. Episode 216. Cold gutted, man. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Social media at WCB Podcast. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Love, boys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WCB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast. To connect with Jarom and Tanner, check out the boys at WCB Podcast on all social media. We'll see you next time.